Alright, buddy, make a Mario video once, shame on you. But make a Mario video twice? Shame on you twice, I guess.
I think it's safe to say almost everyone in the world loves a good Mario game. You don't have to love them, and you don't have to play every game ever made on the planet for Mario, but everyone's got their own Mario game. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Mario, but I can't deny that he's made a huge impact in my life. Fun fact, I actually have more childhood memories with Mario than I do with Sonic. The only videos I watched back in the day were like Mario plush content like this.
Oh, there's Luigi! Oh, you looking forward to Christmas this year?
You lied to me, Phil!
And you, but we don't talk about you. I mean, for God's sake, Mario Kart Wii was my first video game ever made, and if it wasn't for Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, I wouldn't even give a fuck about Sonic. But I'm always there for a big Mario game release. There's always something about a new big Mario game that feels like a huge event to me. Watching Captain Nintendo Dude waiting 10 days for Odyssey as an example was a magical time. I even collected those dumb 35th anniversary Mario pins. Sure, you'll never see me shill for a $60 Mario game that only has a third of its content on release, but when a new mainline Mario platformer comes out, especially the 3D ones, I'm there day one. So when the Switch 2 got announced with all these rumors and pretty much confirmations that a new 3D Mario is coming out this year, I decided to start a marathon of all the 3D Mario games while thinking of what to do for my next video. And while I was sitting there playing Mario Galaxy, I thought to myself, Mario! For this video, I want to focus more on each game rather than rushing through all of them, like my Little Big Planet videos. So instead of talking about every 3D Mario, I want to focus my time talking about the golden age of Mario platformers. The three pioneers in Mario's 3D career: Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. And look, I know a thing or two about these games because I 100%ed all of them. And hey, if the video does well, then I'll look into all of these other games. But for now, here we go! I'd do the same that I told you that I never would. On September 7th, 1994, 4 years after the release of Super Mario World, Nintendo started thinking of Mario's next big adventure. Sure, the series never really left, we got tons of spin-offs in that time frame, and even a sort of sequel to the original Mario World. But that wasn't enough. Nintendo needed Mario's next big major game. And after some tests of 3D gaming with stuff like Star Fox and Super Mario RPG, and with the release of the Nintendo 64, Super Mario 64 would become one of the most influential video games of all time. Besides, like, I don't know, the first Mario? Mario's in a strange new world, a world of freedom. You can go wherever you want now. You're not limited to left or right anymore. Now, there's a north and south. And breakdancing. It's not the first 3D platformer ever made, but it might as well be. I'm pretty sure it's one of the first 3D platformers to have a dynamic camera that actually follows the player around with its own set of controls. And while it's not that great to today's standards, it still stomps on what other early 3D platformer games did. And it was also designed using Sega Genesis controllers. Take that, plumber bitch. The general thoughts of this game nowadays is very split. Some say it's still one of the greatest 3D platformers of all time, and others, they don't say that. However, in my opinion, I don't think this game aged good or bad. Sure, it's not as refined as it used to be, but it's nowhere close to being a bad game. It stands as one of the greatest games of its time. It's iconic. We wouldn't have the games we have today without Mario 64. But with that being said, the game's got some stank to it. However, I still think to this day, Mario 64 is one of the best controlling Mario games. Every move added to Mario offers so much variety to his overall moveset, and honestly, it makes playing these levels so much better. You could go about this level design the easy way, with some basic jumps and whatnot. Think of it like a traditional 2D Mario game. Or you could use all your abilities and acrobatics the shit out of it. High risk for some high ego, I guess? I mean, either way, you still get the same thing. The only thing I really hate here is that sometimes Mario goes into a circle motion when turning, and that causes a lot of deaths. I honestly think the only game in the series that beats Mario's controls here is definitely Odyssey. I would say Galaxy because he controls damn well there, but without the spin move, it's a very limited version of the moveset from 64, which isn't bad in that game because the levels reflect that, but there's something so free about Mario's controls here. Everything has such a nice weight to it. Some levels like Tick-Tock Clock and Rainbow Ride can really suck with these few hiccups in his controls, but I think that's because those levels themselves are pretty weirdly designed. Speaking of the levels, they're good. Until they aren't. The game's level design consists of some of the greatest elements in all of Mario, and some of the worst. Like Holy shit, this is bad. Bomb Bomb Battlefield, Thromp's Fortress, Tiny Huge Planet, or whatever it's called. All fantastic levels. And that's only 3 of some of my favorites in the game. But holy shit, for every Bomb Bomb Battlefield, there's a Wet Dry World, TikTok Clock, and Hazy Maze Cave to go along with it. But whatever, it's fine. I can't really complain. The game's like a million years old. The objective here are stars. Collect stars, open doors, collect more stars, kill Bowser, eat cake. It's simple, yet a really good gameplay style for Mario. Hell, it's literally the birth child for the collectathon genre. A long time ago, I heard somewhere that the game was built around this gameplay loop because the traditional flagpole level route was something apparently hard to work on with the 64, which was a great coincidence anyway because Miyamoto wanted to do a more open structure with this game. So to compensate, we get big open zones with stuff to find. One of the biggest complaints I see with this game is after collecting a star, you get booted out of the level, which yeah, at times it can be annoying. However, some stars are locked to a very specific version of the map that you can select. So if you were able to stay in the map course, you'd have to exit out at some point anyway. Each course contains 6 stars with a hidden 7th one after getting 100 coins. And actually, the 100 coin stars don't kick you out of the level. It's really convenient, especially when you're like me and get the 100 coin stars during the red coin missions. In some levels, these are perfectly fine and easy to collect, but other levels, they're so precise with its coin placement. Some levels only have 100 coins in them, so you have to go around the map like a million times to get the star. And be careful once you do because it spawns right on top of Mario, and that can cause a lot of bullshit. Thankfully, every red coin counts for 2 regular coins, and you can even find a timer button to collect blue coins. Those give you 5 regular coins per one. But these are easily the worst stars in the game, which wouldn't be an issue to a normal person. I mean, you can easily ignore all of these, but in my eyes, I can't beat a Mario game till I do everything in a Mario game. So with that being said, I do go after all 120 stars in this game. It can be a chore, sure, but hey, if I hated this, I wouldn't have done it 4 times. Some of the stars are locked around power-ups. There are 3 power-ups in the game. The wing cap, which is similar to the cape from Super Mario World, invisibility, which lets you go through certain walls, and finally the metal cap. It's pretty much the game's invincibility, but you're a lot heavier and you can sink to the ground in underwater areas. They are honestly probably the weakest power-ups in the series. The wing cap's cool in concept, but the result is a very sloppily controlled glide. I really hope future games do this better if they bring it back. The invisibility and metal cap are used like maybe 3 times, but they work, so whatever. Why is Metal Mario a separate character? I do have a bit of a controversial opinion here with this game. It's ugly as shit.
Whoa, what?
Sure, I do think Mario looks nice to an extent. Honestly, I think it's because I grew up with stuff like SMG4, so it's always gonna be charming to me. But everything else? No. And yeah, it's an N64 game, so I can't really complain much. It was a launch title. But I think something like Sonic Adventure easily looks better here. Models included. And that was also a launch title on a similar system, and it was made in a less amount of time. It's also the reason why I think this game looks really ugly on the PC port. The game in widescreen looks horrendous to me. Honestly, that goes for most N64 games, so whatever. That doesn't make the PC port bad in any way, by the way. It's a very cool version of the game, and to this day, I think it's the best way to play it. The multiplayer mod in this game is so fun, especially when you have a full lobby with friends. In fact, one of my first videos on the channel was a 120 star playthrough with all my friends. And all the mods for this game that make it look 10 times better than the original are really charming to me. I especially love the ones that make it look like the game's box art. And there's also a DS remake of the game. It's a very strange game though. It's Mario 64 but with more of a retelling or sequel or something. It is such a very, very different game while also being the same somehow. I didn't play it for this video, but I do remember growing up with it. Maybe I'll go back to this game someday. Find Luigi was the best part about it though. In some ways, this game is very ageless to me. Sure, a lot of elements here aren't as refined as they used to be. And there are way better Mario games, but the overall game and the community for it, the mods, the speedruns, the atmosphere. Shit, I didn't even talk about how good Peach's castle was with all its secrets. And the castle courtyard being such a nice opening to the game, teaching you how to play it without actually telling you what to do. It's such a creatively genius way of showing the game's theme, freedom. No matter what, this game easily remains as one of the greats. So they fucked it up in the sequel.
Wait, hold the phone. So did you just end your talk about the game by comparing how it looks like a game made on hardware with higher specs?
Yes.
Well, okay, well, I mean, honesty is the best part. Wait, what do you mean they fucked up the sequel?
So after Super Mario 64 came out, a sequel for the game for the Nintendo 64 disc drive was planned. It was supposed to expand the formula of the first game with a big focus on multiplayer, and a lot of scrapped elements from the original version of 64, like Luigi for example, were supposed to be added. And it was also going to have a more mature story for some odd reason. And the result of that was the goofiest story in all of Mario, with no Luigi. Bro missed his flight. Super Mario Sunshine. Mario and the gang take a vacation. And then Bowser's son shows up. Didn't know Bowser had a son. Didn't know Bowser had 4 sons. Bro is just not a Durex user. Super Mario Sunshine is without a doubt the most controversial Mario game in the whole series.
He's probably not a pull-out kind of guy.
Just like 64, people either really love this game, praising it as an amazing successor to Mario 64, or some people despise this game, calling it one of the worst games in the series. But what does Brendan think? Well, you see, after collecting all 120 Shine Sprites, not once, but twice, yeah, no, this game isn't that great. I'm not going to be screaming about this game, nor will I be praising it for everything, because in reality, I think this game is a big bag of bullshit. I really do like some aspects of this game, but for all the ones I like, there's easily like 5 of them that I hate. For example, this is the one Mario game to have controls that are worse than 64's. And yeah, I know I said Odyssey was the only one that had better controls than 64, but in all honesty, I think all the other 3D Marios just have a different take on it. This game is the same, but just 10 times worse. 64 Mario had a lot of weight on him. Sure, the movements were weird sometimes, but 90% of the time it was very tight and fun. And all the acrobatic tricks helped me get a greater feel for Mario as a whole, even in the more linear and dangerous areas. However, for Sunshine Mario, it's not that at all. He's not terrible to control, but damn is it clunky. You don't have the long jump, and instead you have this spin move that's very hard to control in the air. And now you have Flood, the flash liquid squirty gun thingy, or whatever it was called. And it does help a bit, even if the air controls are again pretty hard to control, but it did really save me in a lot of areas in this game. So of course, the most jank platforming sections in the whole game, just get rid of them. Great. I really do like the use of Flood with cleaning the areas in this game, though. It does sound boring on paper, but splashing water down at these giant paint goop areas is very fun. They do forget about that concept like halfway through the game, so, okay. While writing this part of the review, I really just started to notice this game has a weird pattern to it. Everything that I like has a but or except to it. There's nothing here that's just good. There's only an it's good, but, for example, I really do like the environments in this game, but a lot of areas tend to blend in with each other. I like how big the worlds are, but the areas were never used to their fullest potential. And a lot of the big openness was an excuse for them to put as many coins in as possible for the 100 coin missions, which are again just as bad, if not worse than 64's. I guess it was also an excuse to put as many blue coins in the levels as possible, and the blue coins fucking suck. The blue coins in Mario 64, God bless my soul. I get giddy and whimsy every time I find them. The blue coins in Mario Sunshine?
Why am I dead? Leave me alone! Can you see I'm killing myself?
Every level has 30 blue coins to them, but there's no counter that shows which ones you get, so no matter how many YouTube guides I watch, I'm always missing 1 or 2. I don't even get why this was even a thing. Just make more fucking missions for the Shine Sprites. I don't know why you have to lock a bunch of them behind 240 blue coins. But even then, I'm kind of glad they didn't make more missions, because we probably would just get more areas like the Pachinko machine, or the Poison Lily Pad mission. I understand that you don't actually really have to do this stuff in the main game, and of course the extra stuff is made as a harder challenge, but like, these aren't hard on purpose. These are difficult due to the lack of genuine good game design. The best way to do the lily pad mission is by glitching not only the poison river, but the way to get there as well, because if you don't, you'd be spending at least 20 to 30 minutes to get to an island. I will, however, stand on the fact that Delfino Plaza is probably the best hub world in all of Mario. It's not nearly as iconic as Peach's Castle, but it makes up for it by being a really open area, and it's not really that insane to run through, until it decides to glitch on me. Overall, Super Mario Sunshine is not very good. It's not awful, but it's definitely not the sequel that Mario 64 deserved. I say that, but I've 100%ed this game twice, and will probably do it again. Also, if you enjoy Mario Sunshine, you're a fake fan, and you should never play Mario. Mario's shirt is too short in this game. Whatever, who fucking cares? It's a me, Mario. Here we go!
You made that joke already. You made that joke already, too.
Super Mario Galaxy. My first ever 3D Mario game. And the best one. Basically, the game was made with some failed ideas and plans from a genuine sequel to Mario 64, Super Mario 128. The game's tech demo had some spherical-based platforms and areas. They took that idea and just gave it a space theme so you can literally do anything with that idea. This was never confirmed, but I like to think the idea of Mario 128 having more mature themes was brought to this game too. Because out of any mainline Mario game, this one easily has the most serious story to it. It is the same Bowser kidnaps Peach thing, but the cinematics, the world, the presentation, and characters, they all make this game so much more focused on the story than other Mario games. Rosalina, for example, the new character of the game, she has such a good backstory to her. Essentially, she lost her mother at a young age, but with the help of the Lumas, she continued moving on in her life. And later on, she helped the Lumas the same way they helped her. It's a pretty short backstory, and it's an optional one, but Nintendo giving Mario characters a backstory, and a backstory about grief for that matter, that's something truly special for the series. They erased it in the sequel. But don't worry, we have baby Rosalina now. But the main part of this game is the gameplay, and the gameplay itself is pretty basic Mario. In fact, it's probably the most basic Mario has ever controlled. You have almost everything from 64, including the long jump. And you even have a new move that lets you spin both on the ground and in the air. You can even homing attack enemies with it. So it's just Sonic. They even made it like that so players don't have a hard time stomping on enemies, so it's Sonic! Mario's probably the slowest he's ever been in the series so far. But honestly, I think that's okay here because the levels are built around those controls so well. It's a linear game with the structure similar to Mario 64. Collect the stars, go to different areas, rinse and repeat till you beat the game. And yeah, I did complain about Sunshine having that style while also being very linear, but the problem with that is that you have all these giant hubs that aren't used. However, in Galaxy, each level and each star, as a matter of fact, have newly designed linear levels entirely. And instead of Sunshine's one beach theme, this game goes back to the 64 route, but this time on like fucking crack. Here's a level where you're rolling down your star on a monkey ball level. Here's a level where you're platforming through Candyland. You want to race some penguins on a manta ray? Well, here you go. You want to rub yourself against a giant queen bee?
I'm killing myself!
No levels in Super Mario Galaxy are the same. Except for Honey Hive Galaxy. I don't know why that appeared like twice. The power-ups even return. It's the first 3D game in the series to have actual full-on power-ups, as a matter of fact. 64 had the caps and Sunshine had the nozzle upgrades, but these are just full-on power-ups. A lot of people say that they're pretty forgettable in this game, but I think it's the complete opposite. Beat Mario is just fucking look at him. Boo Mario, while not used much, is a really funny design and it's just really charming. The only two power-ups in this game that are pretty forgettable is the Red Star Mario. Remember when I said hopefully future games fix the wing cap idea? They didn't. It's used once and never again here. And Spring Mario. Controls like dog shit. And you can't talk about Mario Galaxy without talking about the game's incredible soundtrack. Every piece, every track is just so fucking good. They decided to give this game a full orchestra soundtrack and it works wonders for its theme. Space is big and grand, so yeah, why not use the biggest and grandest form of music? Gusty Garden Galaxy, the Star Festival, the Purple Comet Song.
Luigi, I just want to touch you.
I'm killing myself!
Sure, Mario games had really good OSTs before this, but none of them come close to the amazing and stellar tracks in this game. I also love how the music in the Cosmic Observatory gets bigger and grander with each star you get. It goes from It's so good. Speaking of the Cosmic Observatory, it's basically the Peach's castle of this game. And yeah, it's not as big as Delfino Plaza or anything, but it really helps the stake of this game. It's very limited and desolate at the start of this game, but the more you play, the more Lumas appear, more light shows up, and a bunch of Toads and Luigi appear to help Mario out. It shows a genuine grand quest for this game, which I don't think any Mario game has done since then, at least not as impactfully. I love this game so damn much. It's my first 3D Mario game. It has genuinely such an amazing story and theme about family and love. The cinematics and last cutscene where Bowser accidentally creates a black hole and all the Lumas sacrifice themselves, with it resetting the whole world and Mario being the only one to remember it, it's all so damn good. All the stars and levels are so fun, and the only complaint I have is that the purple coins are a bit of a hassle to collect. But at the same time, I think these are very overhated. Like, yeah, it's annoying, but it's nowhere near as bad as the blue coins. And all all of them are usually in levels that are just fun to mess around in anyway. The 100% completion in this game is worth it anyway, because instead of a thank you from Yoshi or a fucking postcard, you get a full New Game Plus with Luigi, broken physics and all. This game is probably the closest thing to a perfect 3D platformer in my opinion. It may not be as open as 64 and Sunshine, but it makes up for it in its amazing story and level design. It has such good out of this world art and sound design too, and it has such an amazing story that brings so much heart to this silly little series. So it's kind of a shame that they fucked the story up in the sequel. I think. I don't know. I never actually played the sequel. As I said before, these games are solidified as Golden Age Mario games. Each one is very unique in its own way. 64, while being the first, still holds up in many ways even to this day. And even if I don't like Sunshine, I know this game has a huge following nowadays. So don't let my frustrations decide if you should try it or not. But Galaxy though, man, is it fucking fantastic. If there's one game I could ever tell anyone to play, it would be Portal 2. But after that, Portal 1. But after that, Galaxy. There's been millions of talks and retrospectives about that game, yet it still never gets old to this day. Personally, I don't think there's ever been a Mario game to hold up to Galaxy 1 ever since. And it's without a doubt influenced every Mario game to this day. I don't think Mario would be the same without this game, but that's for another video, I guess.
Wow, Brendan. Wow, Brendan. That was beautiful. Especially the Luigi part. You never played Mario Galaxy 2?